What's going on, guys? This is Bradley alongside Zach and Dawson, and you are listening to the Charm City Sideline podcast. Tonight is Monday night. We're going to be doing our second mock draft Monday. We have one more after this. Very exciting stuff. We've done one so far, like I said. I took Donovan Ezraku with my first round pick. Zach took James Pierce, and Dawson took Tyler Booker with his. So yeah, guys, how you doing? Draft is approaching very quickly.
I saw a tweet earlier from somebody within the NFL. I forget who it was off the top of my mind, and it was like, "Oh, the attendees for the draft next week," and that next week hit hard.
Wow,
it is so close. It's officially next week for the draft, and man, it's gonna be exciting as always.
Can't wait. I freaking love doing these mock drafts, especially like just the randomness of experiencing it and then actually experiencing it next week. Oh my gosh, dude. This is
Just
the best.
fact that it's next week is wild.
Yeah, that's wild to say out
I
loud.
feel like the season
It's
just
crazy.
ended and we're already here.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess we can go ahead and get into it. So I think we'll have Dawson do the first one today.
Ooh.
Ready to go? Let's get
Yes, sir. Let's go.
7 rounds here. We'll start slow for the first round.
Drafting is the Giants today.
Yeah, Shedeur Sanders. Oh, I gotta zoom in. Holy crap. As always, when we get there, kind of go through the picks real quick and just see. It's interesting to see where they got guys going. McMillan at 22.
Wow.
That seems to be a trend as he's dropping. Ooh, we got doesn't look too crazy. Kenneth Grant, 13. Or I'm sorry, 11. Starks at 13. Wow.
Dang.
Dawson.
Shedeur at 18.
Chris Paul.
He's a Raku at 19. Wow. Okay, this is Jackson, 21 to Pittsburgh. This is
Dawson.
all right.
I'm just now realizing Michigan has like 4 first rounders.
Yeah.
Why weren't they as good?
It was a quarterback issue this season. We had a very unfortunate case of quarterback. It just never worked out. Ooh, we got Mikael Williams, Shamar Stewart, Mike
so
Bean.
I will say, let's have it look like this.
Yeah, right. That makes more sense.
I'd say Barn probably won't be there either, but we'll leave him up there just for to make things interesting for Dawson.
Yeah. So last week I took Tyler Booker. I was on the offensive line pod. Obviously, I'm a huge Tyler Booker fan, as are most, and I think that's a very safe pick. However, I'm a fan of good, fun, engaging content, and it's mock draft season, so I'm not going to follow the trend there. So I'm going to skip out on Tyler Booker here. However, I do think he's a safe and one of the best picks possible. James Pierce is super enticing, of course. You got Derek Harmon. We talked about him on the defensive line pod. You want to talk about a fun pick? We can go to Ohio State and take Igbukah. You got a guy like Luther Burden. That's a needle in the haystack. Who knows if that's going to happen? But I think here I'm going to solidify up front in the trenches. I know we kind of been preaching that all off season. And I think I'm going to take Mr. Derek Harmon from Oregon.
Derek Harmon.
I think solidifying, and I know there's a couple cons there, a couple things to work with him, but I think, however, his ceiling's super high, and I think he could be a really good player, and I think he could be a beast up front and shore up that defensive line in the middle.
There you go. I like Harmon a lot.
Pick. Yeah,
I think I had him above Nolan, behind Grant, but yeah, I like that. So Ravens will have a solidified interior D line there. And now
59. Oh, Gio Mura. That's funny.
Now Dawson's sitting at 59. He's got Darian Porter available. He's got a tackle in Cameron Williams. He's got a few receivers.
All right. Okay. So
here.
Oh man, there's a guy I like there. I just don't know if the Ravens actually take him. Jaden Higgins is a guy that I have quickly found a lot of interest in. He is a freak athlete. He's a prototypical big receiver. I think he would complement the Ravens offense extremely well. However, they brought in D-Hop, so I think that kind of would not make much sense at pick of 59. I just think, value elsewhere is probably better. Is this what we're going off of as Jack Beck up top, Brad?
What'd you say?
Who's above Jack?
Okay, no, you got to – I think all this is fine.
Yeah, I was just looking. Oh, man. Okay, so you solidify up front across the defensive line. I think offensive line is obviously a priority. I think anything as far as defensive back needs to be a priority.
I will say, I'd say Morrison's probably not there, but
Yeah, right. I probably agree. So you can go Darian Porter from Iowa State, cornerback. Jeez, man.
we'll be talking about him in 2
Did I
days.
take TJ Sanders last week in the second round? I think I did.
You might have, but
Might have.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to look at D line?
I don't want to double dip necessarily if you don't have to, but like, no. Go back to the all.
All right.
I think here I'm going to solidify the secondary a little bit. I think I'm going to go up top, best corner available. I think that we've talked about it before. I think either way, no matter how the Ravens address it, I think cornerback or safety, I think all in one, you're addressing that room in the same manner just because you have versatile players back there like Caham, which basically can move anywhere. You basically need them up front in the slot if you take a corner or a safety, or vice versa. So I think taking the best, guy up top on the board right here with secondary is probably a safe pick, and I think it's something that benefits the Ravens well. So run the card in for Darian Porter.
Darian Porter, I like it. So Dawson's going interior D line with Harmon, and then corner with Darian Porter of Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know much about Darian Porter. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
I can't sit here and say I know much about him, but I like
Wednesday.
the whole aspect of
Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we're at 91 here.
Yeah, you've gone Harmon and Porter.
Man. All right. So this is where it gets to the point where you double dip at defense. Obviously, that's kind of where the most needs are, but you have a lot of good players here. And, we talked about offensive line really being probably the only priority across the offensive front right now, or the offensive unit in general. I just think that there's really good value here for a guy like Andrew Makuba, Josiah Stewart, even. You got a guy like Winston, I believe, from Penn State that Zach loves.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you take a corner and a safety, and I mean, you're solidifying the secondary there in a big way. But I go back up top real quick, Brad. I wish I could scroll, but Kyle Kennard from South Carolina edge, because that's obviously a priority too. Oladejo from UCLA. Run up to Michigan, man. Josiah Stewart from Michigan.
Bang.
Take up the defensive front, man. Solidify it. Go back to back to back on defense. I think that's, addressing it in a big way. I think now you can kind of shift our needs to the offensive front. But let's run that up. I think he's kind of a raw athlete. I watched him a little bit at Michigan. He's very good. He has the traits to be good. He hasn't had the most production, I would say. But this is a guy, I don't want to compare it to that because unfortunately it hasn't worked out for the Ravens. But like David Ojabo, he has everything in the world to put it together. But, Stewart's not coming off a catastrophic injury entering the NFL. So maybe, the Ravens can bring this guy in and put it together.
Yeah, Zach and I talked about Stewart last week, and I like him a lot too. He's pretty athletic. He's not an elite athlete. I think the knock on him is he's like 6'1", and I think he's in the 240s. So he's definitely small-ish. I think he around 6.5, maybe 7 sacks. Solid player, but the Ravens don't love their big edges, which is something I disagree with them on. I think you just take people who are good at football. But
yeah, right. I think this one's pretty easy. You address the defense back to back to back. I mean, all your picks so far, I think you eventually have to turn to the offensive side. I think right here, you're kind of going best player available within the trenches up front of the offense. And if that's Miles Frazier from LSU, you got to run that in. Maybe this is a guy you can bring in and start day one. Maybe this is a guy that comes in that immediately competes for the spot. Either way, he's in contention for it. And I think that this benefits the Ravens because they need to address guard.
I like that. I think Dawson going waiting till round 4 and then still getting a guy like Miles Frazier is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Last week when we did this, I tried to wait till round 4 to get guard, and I ended up drafting none. So this is a pretty good draft
bid on it. Yeah.
Right. All right. What do we got? We got pick 136 here. Okay, we're in round 4, is it? Yeah, right. Round 4.
Yeah.
So now here's where we're going to start getting a lot of running backs, a lot of cornerbacks, some safeties. Jackson Slater guard, Kyle McCord quarterback. I think here's where the Ravens typically go, best player available. Maybe it's not in need exactly. I know we talked about bringing in D-Hop, but he's 30-something odd years old. He's not here for the long term. I think that he could easily be moved on from rather quickly if it doesn't work out. I think that bringing home the homegrown guy like Ty Felton from Maryland makes sense. I think this is a receiver that everybody within the Ravens flock that is a Maryland Terp fan, obviously, would love this pick. And I think here is just value. This is a guy long term because obviously you got Zay and Bate. After him, it's kind of a drop off as far as, long term, what's going to happen within the wide receiver room. And I think bringing in a guy like Felton makes sense here for Baltimore.
I like it. Yeah.
Great value for that spot. Jeez.
I'm
So
sure
now
Ravens would be pumped.
we're in the territory of the 4-6 round picks now. So we'll do a bit of a speed run here, Dawson.
Yeah,
right.
right.
Just give me a guy you
Here
like.
is going to be best player available. I think late round 176, the Ravens typically take a developmental guy, a guy that they can use across the offensive line. I would be taking Chase Long here if I was the Ravens, if this is what your board looks at.
I don't mind that.
Here we got best player available. These are all just randoms. Luke Kandra. I know, Zach, you were a fan of him. Willie Lampkin.
Mhm.
We're at 203. Oh, Brad, run in the APR.
He's not going to be there. He's not going to be there.
No?
We're in that.
It does seem a little light.
Run up Q Robinson from Alabama.
Yes. Boom.
Okay, so here's where I think that a guy like Jaden Blue, the Ravens love their late round running backs. I think that makes sense here.
Bro, round 6 is literally the draft of the Ravens.
Right. Did you make the Jaden Blue pick?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't even see it go. Sorry. How is APR still on the board? What is going on?
I don't know.
Oh my God, you're scrolling so fast. I can't even read it, Brad.
Oh, I was tied in. Oh.
Run up the best. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Don't do that. Just go best linebacker available here. Inside linebacker. Jamon Dumas Johnson.
All right, last pick.
All right, I think there's a small world out there where Mark Andrews gets traded on draft night. And I think best tight end available here for the Ravens.
Urasek out of Georgia.
Okay,
Zach, it's time for the grades.
Heck
Anyone in the chat, feel free to give
Don't
us
me too hard, guys.
well.
yeah, drop some grades in the chat too.
So
please let me know what you think.
We got round 1. Dawson goes interior D-line with Derek Harmon. Round 2 solidifies the secondary with Darian Porter out of Iowa State. Then he gets his homegrown guy, Josiah Stewart, edge rusher from Michigan, Miles Frazier, the guard from LSU, Ty Felton from Maryland, gets that developmental tackle that Dawson's been talking about, Chase Lutton from UConn in round 5, and then obviously just the round 6 slew of picks. What do you think, Zach?
I'm absolutely in love with rounds 4 and on. Like, I feel like if Mark Andrews gets moved, I think a tight end being selected is awesome. I'm a massive Q Robinson guy. I talked about him in the edge. Ty Felton was a guy that I was personally looking to try and draft tonight in mock draft. Love that. I would love that pick. Love Miles Frazier. He's like, to me, he was the most aware guy I watched. Everything about him was so head on a swivel. That is like, for 2 picks round 4, I cannot imagine a better 2. Like, I feel like that's like the most perfect late round selections. I guess for the, I don't know the word, like the explosiveness of the first 3 picks, none of those names really jump out. Harmon's awesome, but like, I haven't really done my due diligence on Porter yet. And Stewart was good, just not like the super flashy edge that I'm hopefully dreaming of. But overall, I mean, shoot, this is, if I saw really round 4 and on our draft night next week or sometime, wow, I would say this is easily a B+, A-. I mean, this is awesome.
I think if I remember correctly, I think Dawson and I were a little bit bigger fans than Harmon than Zach was.
Yeah.
I liked Harmon a lot. I think his issue of tackling can get fixed a little bit, and I think he is dominant off the line of scrimmage, and he has some great moves. I think he's going to be a good pass rush piece on the inside immediately. I'll probably also go B+. This
is a good draft.
Darian Porter, I love him, and I'm excited to talk about him on Wednesday. I think Ravens going corner at 59 would be awesome. There's not too many that are probably going to be available there, but he probably will be and I like him a lot in that spot. I'll go B+ as well.
Also, just want to say that obviously I didn't take a safety in this. I don't see as big of
Yeah.
a need for safety as others may see. I fully trust K Ham staying back there with Ardarius. Obviously, there's flexibility within them, but
Yeah.
I think that rolling forward with those two back there primarily, and taking Marlo and Nate with a guy in a round 2 or round 1, round 3 selection, I think that's perfect for the defense, and I think that I'm more than comfortable riding forward with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that as well. And the Ravens are good with their undrafted guys. This would, sort of pigeonhole Kyle Hamilton to playing deep, but being able to get guys like I think the caliber of those top 3 picks.
Yeah. Well,
are
that,
really
and
good,
I fully trust the Ravens, knowledge of getting late round safeties, or, in this case, an undrafted guy. Like, there's been proven history of them bringing in guys like that and becoming really good. So
yeah,
it's more so prioritizing positions late in the draft that I don't feel as comfortable with that, like a guard, maybe an edge, running backs. Like, those are just positions that I, don't trust the Ravens as much as far as going after, not getting them in the draft.
yeah, makes sense. So good draft, Dawson.
Yeah.
We will go to Mr.
What a
Bradley
start.
now, aka me. And Zach will go third. So let's get this going. See how this board falls here. Adam said, "Where's kicker, Dawson?"
Oh, where's it at, Dawson?
Dawson's going UDFA.
I forgot about that too. I won't lie, dude. If I was first, I definitely would not have remembered.
Dawson says the Ravens can find another Vedvik easily.
Mm.
Okay.
Ooh.
Obviously, no.
Ooh. Wow.
Brad's in shambles.
This is all the names like that you have seen for Ravens mock draft. Like in the last 2 or 3 weeks, those are the names.
One of these guys will be a Raven.
Probably.
I would think
but,
I'd agree.
Or. But
Mm.
so I will say, for anyone that doesn't know, my guys in this first round, the guys I would love to have, Starks and Ezeraku. And I think I think it's possible Starks is there. I think it's maybe a 10% chance, but I think it's possible. Ezeraku's been climbing. Ezeraku might end up going before the Ravens pick as well. This is something I planned on doing before this, kind of just as a thought exercise. I'm going to trade back and just sort of see what it looks like and how the draft plays out. Dawson was hating on that strategy, but we're going to see.
I just don't want the Ravens to select 13 new players. We don't need 13 new players.
12,
I'd rather move on from some picks and get less players that are better.
So I looked up, for anyone wondering, I looked up the trade value chart, and I'm going to get a nice even trade here. Giants went with Abdul Carter. They're coming back up to take Milrow, guys. Trust me. And
Milrow. Whoa.
The Giants are going to give us 99 and a 6th round pick next year.
Okay.
To move up from 34 to 27. So in this case, Patriots fan in the comment telling us, yeah, Mike Green would be awesome here, but I think it's a bit unrealistic for him to be available. So we're probably going to pass on him here. We're going to trade back with the Giants. This is something every Ravens fan would be very disappointed in. No pick on Thursday night, especially us after we're live for 5 hours.
Oh, stop.
This would be tough. No. But we're going to try it. We're going to give it a shot. So, they go dart. So the Giants go dart at the end of round 1.
Okay.
And obviously, these guys are not going to be here.
Wow.
We're going to have a board that looks like this, okay, realistically. At 34. And so this is my thought process, guys, here with the trade back. So Dawson, remember when we were talking about, and Zach, in our last episode, there's kind of 4 needs. Ravens really don't have a single need, but there's 4 B needs.
Yeah.
Guard, corner, safety, interior D-line, edge. Kind of 5. But I kind of count corner and safety as 1. So it's kind of 4. My thought process here is you add in that 2nd, 3rd round pick, and you can get those 4 needs on day 1 and 2. So that's sort of my thought process with a trade back. So to start, I'm going to take Donovan Jackson, who is my number 1 guard in this class. I do like him a little bit more than Booker. So he's going to be starting before week 1. He will be a starter, locked-in starter. He can play anywhere on the O-line. He can play tackle. So I'm going to take Jackson here. at 34 after the trade.
I like
back.
it.
Wow.
Interesting. I like it.
So we're gonna have a second round pick, and we're gonna have 2 third-round picks now, thanks to the Giants. At 59, I'm just gonna kind of go with what I see on the board. We've taken a guard, and TJ Sanders is a guy I like a lot, and I think I'm gonna plug him in and fill in, sort of put him in that 3 tech. Ravens kind of play their defensive linemen all over the place, but TJ Sanders is a guy I like a lot. Really athletic interior D lineman, can rush the passer, can defend the run. We're going to go with him in the second round. So we're looking at Donovan Jackson guard and TJ Sanders, the D lineman from South Carolina.
Trenches.
Oh, what a
I love
start.
it.
Exactly. So we've gone trenches so far, and we have 2 more third-round picks. And sort of the needs left that I was talking about are edge and safety that are still left.
I know
And
what's
as you
happening
see here, my favorite prospect of all time, Andrew Makuba, is
Oh,
sitting at 91. And I'm going to take him here because I think he's going to be a good, I'm not going to say anything. He's going to be a really good player in the NFL.
no guts. No guts.
I was about to give too high expectations for this guy, but
Yeah, don't do it.
Makuba at safety with our Darius Washington back there, moving Kyle Hamilton back into nickel with Marlon and Wiggins on the outside. I think it's looking really good. Zach doesn't like it, so
It's good value there. It's really good value.
yeah. So, oh
Yeah.
no,
Oh man.
I wanted Oladejo at 99.
Well, we got a Makuba for sure in the chat. Love that. Wrong side.
Who said that? My new favorite subscriber.
Josiah Stewart. There you go.
Wrong Siren is my favorite subscriber of all time now. Okay,
Shout out.
so I wanted to go Oladejo, and I feel kind of bad because Dawson just took Stewart, but I'm not gonna reach on any of these guys. So I'm gonna sort of follow in the light of Dawson right now, and I'm gonna cap off these 4 Ravens needs that we talked about with Josiah Stewart. Like I already talked about him, the guy I really like, sort of at the end of the 4th round there. And in my opinion, right now, the main needs are all filled going into day 3. And even with these 2 4th-round picks, you can kind of just take a guy that you really like. I think I'm going to go tackle here, sort of get that number 3 tackle to sit behind Stanley and Rosengarten if we have an injury. We'll see. I'm going to go with Caleb Rogers, a guy I like a lot, out of Texas Tech in our first pick of the 4th round.
Before you keep going, Brad, Adam's disagreeing with you. Humphrey's standing slice and all pro and doesn't have the same speed on the outside. Woo!
Well, Kyle Hamilton, in my opinion, is
a dog.
Maybe the most disruptive defender in the NFL when he's playing nickel. And I love him there. And I understand what Adam's saying. I think Humphrey is better in the slot than he is outside. I do agree. But I think you want the best 5 guys on the field, and that drafting Makuba and moving Hamilton down would be that, in my opinion. So that's what I'm going to go with there.
A lot of pushback on this pick.
Yeah,
Humphrey tackles so well for a slot corner in the
See,
chat. I love it. I love it.
This is what I'm saying. Like, Makuba is going to be a great player in this league. So I'm not going to pass on him. Okay, fine. Draft Makuba and keep Humphrey in the slot. Have him as a have him as a third safety for a little bit. Maybe our Darius Washington plays out of his mind this year and goes and gets a big contract, and you have Hamilton and Makuba starting in 2026. I'm not passing up on Makuba at 91. No, I don't care. I don't care who's on the board. He is one of my favorite prospects ever in terms of value, for sure. So we go with the tackle, and then our second 4th round pick. Let's see who the corners are looking like right now. Okay, Zy Alexander is probably my favorite day 3 corner. So I think I'm gonna go with him here. I think he's like 6'1", can play man, can play zone. I like him a lot. So I guess sort of any positions of needs I'm missing, guys, so far. Like, you probably want to get an interior Off-ball linebacker. Is that it? Obviously, you probably want to go kicker. Boston, I appreciate the comment. Yeah, I love Makuba playing deep.
How many more picks we got?
So we'll have the 19 sixth rounders. This is the last fifth round. This is our end of fifth round right here. We have 5 more picks, but
yeah.
I mean, I definitely want to go off-ball linebacker.
Right.
Our guy Teddy is here.
Kobe King.
Teddy.
Yeah, we did talk about the Ravens possibly drafting 3 offensive linemen. I've only drafted 2 so far. I haven't gone receiver yet. Okay, what I'm going to do here is a guy I've talked about a few times on the show before, Jalen Lane. He's explosive. He's a little small, but he can return punts. The Ravens do not have a punt returner right now. They might think they have one in Tylan Wallace, but we all know he's not. So I'm going to draft Jalen Lane right here, and he's going to return punts for us and sort of be that number 5 receiver. Comment from Wrong Siren. Who would you rather have, Makuba or Kevin Winston from Penn State? I like Makuba more. I know Zach likes Winston more.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Dawson?
I'm probably going to side with Brad here. I just think the ceiling's a little higher. I think the floor is a little higher too. But they're both obviously great players. And I think the value is going to be extremely good at either spot. You can get these guys. I think they're going to be very similar. But if you're going to ask me one or the other, I'm probably going with Andrew Makuba.
Yeah.
But it's not by like a wide margin.
Yeah. I think Winston might have been a day 1 or even, at the worst, a second round pick without the ACL. So it's just a tough situation. I don't really want to draft someone coming off a knee injury when you're in like a Super Bowl window. I would rather, I just want to get guys who I know for sure. And like, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if Winston is a great player. I would just rather go with, I guess you could say the safer option, but I think Makuba will end up being a really good player. Comment from Andrew. Do you think Xavier Watts will slide to round 2? I think he'll slide to round 2, but I don't think he'll be there at 59 is the issue. Zach and I love Watts.
Yeah.
I think we both had him as our number 2 safety. Insane ball hawk, but he's probably going to go in the 40s in my opinion. So I'll go Jalen Lane here. And then we're in the 6th round blind pick.
Yeah, start spamming.
I'm going to take our practice squad fullback here / 9th offensive lineman. Willie Lampkin, he can play football, I tell you that, but he's very, very small. I want an off-ball linebacker here, but I don't want to copy Dawson's exact pick. So we're going to go with that here. Someone who can play special teams right off the bat. Shamar James is a guy I like a lot. I've watched him a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, you got to go running back at some point. I'm going to take Dawson's guy, Donovan Edwards.
Let's go.
Nice.
Let's go, dude. North-south, downhill, power back. I love it. With speed.
He reminds me of Tony Pollard a little bit.
He runs hard, dude. He's a great player.
He just didn't have as good of a year as many were expecting.
The whole Michigan
got the NCAA cover curse instead of the Madden cover curse.
Right.
I'm going to take a second edge here with Rucker out of UNC. And then I'll just go with the corner to top it off. I just realized I also forgot a kicker, so pretend I took Ryan Fitzgerald out of Florida.
Nope, you didn't take him.
Pretend I took Ryan Fitzgerald.
Oh my god. All right. So
you guys, I'll go to the top here.
Right. So you trade out of round 1. You move to pick 34. So
what are your thoughts on the trade in terms of value? Exclude the part that you don't get to see a pick on Thursday night.
I don't think it's a bad trade, but it definitely would be like a bummer. People would not like it. It's definitely not a bad trade. I'm a fan if you move back for a guy you're starting day 1 at guard, because that is a disaster. So I'm a fan if the guy you're getting is immediately your right guard or left guard if they, for some reason, don't have Voorhees there. So I'm a fan of that. I'm a huge fan of trenches, man. Build the freaking trenches up and make a run at the Super Bowl. Again, back-to-back, TJ Sanders, great value there. I think that's right into the wheelhouse. Every mock seems to have him right there between 50 and like 70. I think, again, trenches loaded up front, interior across the D-line, great. You get your boy Makuba, round 3, Brad. I know you love that. It's
Yeah.
great for the secondary. Again, you addressed it early. You addressed it in a big way. And I think no matter how you go about DB, as long as you address it early, I think it's good. You take Josiah Stewart, edge, developmental piece guy. And
Yeah, just
I think, you addressed all the needs in a good manner. I think, you heavily invested in the trenches again, which is amazing. I'm not a fan of accumulating any more picks than the Ravens need. I'm actually a fan of the Ravens trading up and getting rid of picks to accumulate less players, but better overall players. But it's definitely not a bad draft. You got great value at a lot of spots. I think it's good.
I will, but just before Zach chimes in here, I know you don't want 5 picks in round 6 and 7, Dawson, but like the trade back, this like Josiah Stewart is free because of the trade back. Like
Right.
you're getting him, you wouldn't have
Right.
had him on the team
Right.
if you don't trade with the Giants there. It's not so much like obviously maybe they can trade up in like round 5 to go get a guy they like.
Yeah.
And get rid of some of these 6 rounders.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I do not want the Ravens to have 4 6-round picks. Like that is such a waste. We're a Super Bowl caliber team. We don't need 12 picks, 13 picks. Like
yeah.
It just does not need to map. Like what? Maybe 4, 5 of these guys will make the roster. Like
yeah.
That's a little
Exactly.
but like
well, I mean, it honestly depends on how high you are on a few of these guys. Like Jackson being your one is pretty important because if you move back and, like you said, essentially get Stewart for free, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're addressing the knees basically as not in a bad way, I mean it not in a bad way, but as chalk as this, like it's so like
the 4
guard, line, secondary, edge, like we would be like screaming in happiness, like giddy on a draft night watching the Ravens do something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's again about a perfect draft that you could ask for. You get like a 4th round, kind of. I like the group at 4th round. I like the 5th round. The 6th round, I don't mind someone like Lampkin. I feel like that's kind of like a big name in that group. I guess besides Edwards, but
practice squad fullback.
You can't complain about it if not a practice squad fullback, a freaking actual legitimate backup guard given his legitimate time at guard. So I don't know. I'd say it's a pretty high grade. I'd say it matches Dawson's. I'd say it's more of an A- and a B+. That honestly, both of these mocks were pretty outstanding.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a B+. You're getting a lot of really good football players in this draft above all else. A couple of guys who, like you said, could be smaller or, not the prototype build for the position, but you're getting a lot of really damn good football players. And I think this definitely benefits the Ravens in a big way. Like I said, the only knock on it is I think it's a lot of players, too many, too late. And I think a lot of these guys are going to just be fighting for tough roster spots, and some of them just go kind of drown out in the sorrows of not making it. But overall, great draft, top heavy. I think you're getting a lot of plug and play starters off rip, and I think it's huge for the Ravens, as far as capitalizing on the Super Bowl window. So I'm going to give you a solid B+, Brad.
Thank you. We have a few comments before we get into Zach's draft here. Yeah. Real quick before, Boston GM, if you're still in here, I'm really interested to know what you think about the Patriots at number 4. Just as a pure NFL fan, do you like Will Campbell there? As it sort of seems, Shador is probably not going to be picked among the top 3 anymore. Do you like Membu? Do you want to trade back? I'm just curious. Wrong siren comment. It all depends on how the board falls. If the talent is there, stay or even trade up. But the trade is always safe if the board doesn't go the Ravens' way. Exactly. And listen, I definitely would have taken Ezeraku there, but I took him last week, and I just wanted to see what a trade back situation sort of looked like. Comment from Andrew. Real good value for the trade. You hit the major buckets. Not a fan of the pass over Femi. Seems like Ravens camp is pretty high on him. Yeah, if I could go back and redo that, I seriously would think about Oladejo over Makuba. He's probably my favorite edge guy in terms of value. It's funny that they're right next to each other on consensus boards, but Oladejo I absolutely love. Used to be an off-ball linebacker. Super long, tall edge rusher from UCLA. I think he's going to be a really good player. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into Zach's draft now. As I zoom out of here.
Go, Zach.
I got to freaking follow up your guys' dang. What the heck?
Yeah, you do.
Goodness.
You do.
Those are nukes.
Zach's going to straight up for T-Mac.
Dude, he's falling so much.
Yeah, I
What in the
know.
world?
Zach's gonna trade up for. Oh, too late. Can't get Travis Hunter. Yeah, Ron Siren says I have a
We
weird
all of
feeling
our
we can
picks.
go to this draft of the kicker.
Oh, Starks. No. Zabel, no.
Starks is gone.
Grant, no. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's a tragedy.
Okay, Zach, we'll put you right here.
Ooh. Wow. Dude, I'm a little heartbroken. Holy crap. Can you scroll down a little bit? On the actual names, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Whenever
okay.
you're done scrolling those, it's okay.
It's like you and me had a nice conversation about Nick Scorton.
I know. I love the idea of him. I love the idea of an Emmett Worry being there. I think a little gutsier pick is someone like a D lineman, someone like Nolan or Harmon. I like that. I told myself that I was gonna go D line. Kind of just headed in with that aspect. Even though I am probably higher with Ezeraku than someone like Scorton, I had originally planned out having Scorton as this first round pick. I wanted a little run support kind of guy. I have him as a Matt Judon comp. I love the look of that. Siren, I wanted to address your comment here. Mike Green is a must. I think he's on the board here technically, but we're just going to make it a little more realistic on our end. Maybe next week we do just like a flat out. That'd be kind of fun.
We're not picking the guys who we think probably has a less than 5%. Like there's a chance Mike Green is there at 27, but it's probably 1% if that.
I think the most realistic pick here is Emmett Worry, but I am gonna go with Nick Scorton.
Yeah,
I'm high on him only because I think that he can produce. He's a Texas A&M guy. They're always proven in the NFL, and I love addressing this because I'm hoping to get secondary later on.
Nick Scorton is interesting. I think we'd be a little, and obviously we all know, Zach, you would rather take a few different guys here, but I think we'd be a little caught off guard with Scorton. But the Ravens love their big edge defenders, and he is one of those elite against the run with, I think, a few nice pass rush moves in the bag as well. That'd be a very interesting pick. They have him listed as a D lineman. I think most people see him more as an edge. So we'll go with Scorton.
But still a fringe guy to hopefully replace Michael Pearson's presence. Not as in size.
Yeah, in the pass rush, at least, maybe on third and longs and things like that. 59, Tyleik Williams is there.
Whoa.
Bo, who we haven't seen here yet, is available. Jalen Milroe.
You're right, Jalen Milroe.
Oh, you know where you're going to go here.
Alfred Collins, Cameron Williams, Caleb Johnson, I like a lot.
If I didn't go D-line, I was considering someone like Collins. I love that for a D-line pick. But, man, is Bow just staring me down. I mean, that's just like the freak athlete, twitchy guy at guard. I had him in our preview as the most fun guard to watch out of this whole group. Like he is.
I agree.
He's like a sorcerer. So that's easily my pick. I think that's also a potential guy to compete for a starting spot. So for second round, I think that'd be fun to see starting with Lamar for sure.
Yeah, Bo is a guy we talked about on the O-line pod, and a lot of criticisms for his size. And for anyone that didn't watch that, I looked up. He's the exact same size as McCary, the exact same size as Marshall Yanda. So it's interesting. I feel like the Ravens might have a problem with small edge rushers, but not guards. Great comment from Andrew.
I know. I love that. Gosh.
Is Scorton similar to Pernell McPhee, Courtney Upshaw comp? Haven't watched much film. I would say so.
That's such a good comp.
I would say so. I think he's. McPhee. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna real quick, Zach. I'm gonna see who his comp is on the NFL.com. Who Lance Zierlein has, because that made me think. I didn't even think about that. Trey Hendrickson is who they have. Hendrickson is a big edge. I love McPhee and Upshaw. I did not think about either of those.
I know that's such an awesome
yeah.
name. I love that, Andrew.
Both
Good
former
comment.
Ravens. Let's go.
Yeah. So we're sitting at 91 now. Zach has gone Scorton and Bo, the guard out of Purdue.
You just go down
my
a little
guy
bit
is
for me.
here.
I know that's Oladejo staring me down there. Oh,
Oh,
Oh, I know where this is going.
it's wraps. It's wraps. This was the original plan for me. I wanted Scorton and I wanted Kevin Winston. Kevin Winston, we mentioned him just a little bit. First round hype all of last year. He gets injured 2 games in and completely falls on the draft board.
yeah.
What you were saying earlier about the downside of picking someone like Winston is, an injury, having to wait a little bit longer. But I think if you get a guy that's potentially as good as a first round guy this late in, that's such a Ravens move, especially when you need secondary help. Winston, lock it in for me. Freaking love that guy.
Also appreciate Sutton for being here.
Yeah,
Yes,
what's up, Sutton?
sir.
What's up, Sutton?
That's good.
Yeah, man. I love Winston as a player. Dawson, what are your thoughts on drafting a guy who maybe would have been a late first round pick a year ago, but towards ACL in September?
I know you see it all the time. You see these guys who are, first or second round locks, and next thing you know, they're getting taken in round 3 and 4, due to injuries or a down season. I think it's great. I think the value is incredible. I think so far, Zach, you're nailing this draft. I'd be a fan. I have no complaints. I think safety in round 3 is probably where I'm going to be most comfortable taking a safety. I just don't see the priority there as far as taking it rounds 1 or 2.
Love that.
As long as the Ravens address, corner or something like that. So I think the value is incredible there. You get your guy, you get a great player, but there is a little concern as far as, the rebound from the injury, like Brad mentioned.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Another comment from Andrew. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your videos. I've been sending the mock draft website to my coworkers, and we've been getting really into it. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it so much. This goes for everyone. Anyone who's just finding the channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button. We plan on doing this for a while. We'll be full go, especially when the season starts, 3 episodes a week. But yeah, that's awesome. This mock draft was made by someone on Twitter. No ads or anything. It's absolutely sick. So Zach, we're in round 4 now. What have you gone? You've gone edge, guard, and safety.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know, I'm pretty sure that's Frazier right above. Oh, I didn't even see someone like Ransom.
Brad plugging the BT, dude.
Yeah. Will Howard. Wow.
Oh, Zach, remember we talked about these 2 guys.
I know Bowman was such a big name. I thought that was kind of
Zach already went Winston. Adam, maybe we should listen to Adam. Adam has been not exactly happy with our decisions all night. He wants him to go corner here.
He just had countering opinions. That's okay. What do we have in the corner department? Is there anyone in around this range?
I think my guy.
Somebody.
Oh, your guy Kobe Bryant is there.
Oh,
Ransall. Wow. I like Ransall a lot too.
Bryant's not.
I think
bad.
you got 3 solid
options
last time.
Now. I know. Bryant might be the guy. I think seeing Frazier there hurt my heart. I think that's such an awesome pick.
Oh yeah,
he would definitely be my 4th round.
You did get Bo
love.
Though.
You're right, and I think that's kind of where I'm stuck. But I'm happy to be stuck with Mr. Bryant here, Kansas. Yeah, 129. I think that's awesome.
I like it too. And corner pod on Wednesday, by the way, guys, for everyone watching right now. Okay. Ollie Gordon is there. Miles Frazier is still there. If you want to double down on guard,
I know that spot might be
some tackle prospects. Jackson Slater's the guy we talked about day 3 gems in our O-line video.
Was there any can we see interior D-line? That might be past that point. I think I remember that. Yeah, we got
probably more of a,
and that's okay.
6th round.
Jeez.
I think honestly, I've seen the name flown in Ravens mock drafts that if he was there, they would definitely take him.
Who?
And that's Mr. Ollie Gordon here.
Ooh, Zach. By the way, I feel like you should probably go kicker in round 6 at some point because me and Dawson both literally forgot.
I know, I gotta nail that. I remember that. Don't you worry.
Ooh.
We had Lunt was taken by Dawson. I like that one.
Teddy.
Teddy, our guy. Lucandra.
Zach loves him some
Ooh.
Andra.
Yeah, he's a freaking monster. Who was I just thinking of? I was thinking of a name. Crap. Can you check wide receivers?
Yeah, I didn't take a no. I took Lane.
All
Okay,
right, here we go.
I know
Wait
that's
for,
such a
wait for
good
Brad
look.
to plug him.
Well,
Jimmy Horn. I think Jimmy Horn is a lot better
I
than
love Jimmy Horn.
where he's ranked.
Love Jimmy Horn. Maybe that's a next pick though. We still got time for
Yeah.
Can you just go back to all? Let's go back to all.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it quick. I don't know who. Actually, check guard really quick. I might overpick for a guy, but I want him.
Were you looking for Colby?
I was. Is he taken?
He's probably gone. Yeah.
Okay, give me Kander. I'm happy with that.
All right, let's just get Fitzgerald out of the way, Zach. If you agree.
Okay. You're gonna screw my draft, Brad. What the heck?
I'll give you an A for it.
Oh, thanks, man.
Right, A+.
Thanks. You.
Do it, Brad. You know you want to.
Well, I'm gonna have to side with him. I want a wide receiver.
And like Brad said, punt
well,
return.
we're near. Johnson's always been on my board. I think I took him last time. Can you go to inside linebacker really quick?
Yeah.
I'll go between that or wide receiver here and make up my mind. No. Let's go wide receiver. Let's go wide receiver. I'm gonna overpick for Jimmy.
Jimmy? Oh yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, and I get Johnson anyways. Boom. I'll take it. Almost back-to-back fix here.
Yeah,
right.
It's so funny. I like a Wisconsin lineman. I'll take that tackle. Old developmental guy. Jack Nelson.
Last pick.
It's like taking a tight end from Iowa.
Marcus Yarns. I need to watch Marcus Yarns.
I'll take Mr. Jay Higgins here, inside linebacker.
Dawson is up first with a grade for Zach.
I know. I just want to see it again. Man.
All right. So I think, you have the guy round one that a lot of guys or a lot of Ravens flock wouldn't expect and wouldn't be very happy off rip. Just he's like, oh, who's Nick Scorton? But you're getting a guy who, like you just researched player comps, Trey Hendrickson, a big guy, a guy that I think is slide inside. I think this is a guy that's going to immediately day one help the trenches, plug and play starter. And obviously, the loss of Michael Pierce is looming large in Baltimore. And I know he doesn't exactly, slide into nose tackle and replace Pierce, but I think this is a guy that is very powerful and will do damage. And he plays like a Raven. So you get a guy like Marcus. Is it Marcus Bowe?
Yeah.
It's Bowe. All right.
Yeah.
You get a guy who immediately comes in and competes for guard, a guy that's probably, to be honest with you, going to start at right guard week one, unless they want to continue the Daniel Falele experiment, which needs to end. And then you get your guy, Kevin Winston. Zach, I know you were excited to sprint that card in. This is a guy that we already talked about that. Great player coming off an unfortunate injury, but, guy was mocked round one just a year ago. And then after that, you basically just fill needs and, other positions with quality depth. You get a guy like Kobe Bryant, Ali Gordon. That's a little bit of a shocker. I think it's a little early in a draft for a running back that, the Ravens flock wouldn't like as much, but it's a great player. We'll have to see what the Ravens would do with the running back room jam-packed with as much talent as it would be. And then you get a guy like Kendra Fitzgerald, probably the unfortunately could be the soon, successor to Justin Tucker. And then Jimmy Horn. I like that's a fun pick.
Yeah, I like Jimmy Horn.
That's fun.
I know, I haven't heard his name in a while.
I think it's a reach, but it's fun. It wouldn't surprise me if that's a guy that's undrafted. I mean, who knows? This guy could fall out of the draft completely, but it's fun. And then you're basically just filling, depth with the other ones, and you're taking gambles there. Who knows if they're even going to make the roster? But I think overall, solid draft. You filled in the needs with big, talented football players that play hard. Once again, and I'm going to go B- here. I think it's overall a pretty damn good draft. It's just not a draft that if I saw it, I would be absolutely thrilled about, but I would be very happy with the top 3 players.
Yeah, Zach, I'm going to grade you based off of if this was truly the draft. I know this wasn't all of your exact decisions and what you would do. I agree with Dawson. If this was like the Ravens draft, I'd probably say B- because of like Scorton being a bit of a reach. But what I will say is Nick Scorton, Zach and I doing the Edge Pod last week. I mentioned I don't know if he has the ability to be a bust. I think Scorton is like guaranteed great run defender, 7-8 sack a year type of guy. He's probably not going to be that elite pass rusher that the Ravens finally find, but I think there's like almost no bust potential with him. I think he'd be a good contributor rookie year. Bo, I like a lot. I think is maybe the most athletic guard in the class. He looks like he's faster than some tight ends when he gets out on screens and things like that.
Athlete.
And then Kevin Winston, if the knee is fine, that is a very, very high value pick to get him at 91. That could turn out awesome. And honestly, I'm a big fan of taking. I know Dawson doesn't want a running back room of 7 guys, but I mean, if you get Ollie Gordon there, it's like, what else are you like? He's so good, and maybe Derrick Henry has 1 year left, maybe he has 5, but you don't know for sure. And pair up the Oklahoma State guys together, him and Justice Hill there. This would probably, unfortunately kick Rasheen Ali out, but the Ravens do keep 4 running backs. So they'd probably be able to have Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, and Ollie Gordon on the roster, which is a pretty insane room. But yeah, I like it. I'll say B-, but I know Zach's trying to be creative here. And I like it.
I really like the kicker pick in the gamble on Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to pick Fitzgerald and I completely forgot. So, and there's other kickers.
To be honest with you, too, I went over my head about kicker too. So
yeah, I forgot.
I definitely would have took.
We're not used to this. It's been 12 years since we had to think about this.
Right. I think overall solid drafts though, for sure. I think these are all drafts that we'd be pretty happy with. I think it'd take a minute to really develop and buy into some of the top guys, but I think overall it would help this team and get us closer to a Super Bowl, man.
For sure.
Like we have all mentioned, the Ravens have a couple needs, but we don't have like one pressing, extremely urgent need. Like most teams obviously have a very urgent need. I don't think this team does. We just have a couple that, are needs, but nothing crazy. And I think the Ravens can benefit from having all these picks, whether they trade back like Bradley's draft or they potentially package those and move up. Maybe that's something we see next week. Who knows? But it's going to be exciting either way. And the Ravens have a lot of opportunities here to get better and get even closer to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I like it. All 3 drafts were solid. The Ravens the last 2 years have sort of been in a spot where they have the ability. Nate Wiggins last year, there wasn't really a need last year. And it's crazy because he ends up starting the whole entire season. In the past, they sort of had to go receiver or had to go off-ball linebacker or had to go edge rusher. And it's really nice. It's kind of more fun to not just be like, oh, yeah, it's either going to be Queen or Kenneth Murray. That year, it was just there was 2 guys. This year, it could be, 8 guys. We have no idea who it's going to be.
It's exciting too to think about, obviously, because we have a general manager who's notoriously been phenomenal drafting in the first round. So it's like we can almost like write it in stone that like whoever we get next week is going to be a huge, crucial part to this team over the next at least 5 years. So it's fun.
Yeah. Who has even been EDC's worst first round pick? Like, was it Hollywood?
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be him or. I don't want to get criticism for this, dude. For Sean Payton.
Yeah.
I don't want to get criticism for that, but it's like, but that's how good he's been drafting the first round.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
It's like, we know I'm a huge Bateman fan. Obviously, we love him, but it's like.
Before last season, it easily would have been Bateman.
Yeah.
But.
For sure. But yeah, he's been phenomenal in the first round, dude.
Yeah. He's pretty much lights out. He's drafting a Pro Bowler in the first round. It's been, it's been crazy. But yeah, those were our 3 mock drafts. 6 down, 3 to go. Like Dawson said, the draft is in. Hey, what's up, Dauncey? Appreciate you for being here.
Hey.
But yeah, draft is next week now. Now that it's Monday, which is insane. if anyone was just popping in, feel free to go back and rewatch our mock drafts after this video ends. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already done either of those. We're going to be coming out with our final position group video, corners, on Wednesday. Draft prospects, and then Friday I think we're going to come out with a video sort of talking about some guys that we haven't talked about, maybe some receivers, maybe some running backs.
There you go.
Are those the only two?
I feel like we should also, just for fun, on any episode, any live stream, do like a full first round mock draft.
We are
with no trades. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I think we're planning on doing that either Tuesday or Wednesday night next week. So maybe like
it's Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday.
NFL Draft Eve. We'll do a full 1 round mock draft.
Yeah.
No trades. That will get absolutely chaotic.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool to do. But yeah, appreciate everyone for watching. Thanks for all the support. Feel free to go listen on Spotify if you'd rather. Links in the description. And then, yeah, we will see you guys on Wednesday. Peace.